Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Important Locations for Map-Based Questions. This initiative has been brought to you by Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services, and my name is Shayad Datta. I'm the faculty for Geography and Environment at Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services. So in this initiative, we are looking at the important locations, the locations which have been in the news in the past 1 year, and hence which becomes relevant for the upcoming UPSC Prelims 2020. So today we will be looking at a new place, and that is Central Asia and the Caucasus region. So let us start with the session today. So we are going to look at Central Asia and the Caucasus countries. So which countries make up Central Asia? So you look over here in the given map, you can see that when we talk about Central Asia, we refer to 5 countries in total. Okay? When we talk about Central Asia, we refer to 5 countries. And which are those 5 countries? For example, you can see over here, one is Kazakhstan, one is Uzbekistan. Okay? Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Another one is Turkmenistan. The fourth one that we have is Kyrgyzstan. And the fifth one that we have is Tajikistan. So on the whole, there are 5 countries which together make up Central Asia. Please remember, only 5 countries make up Central Asia. And which are those countries? Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and we have Tajikistan. So these are the 5 countries which together make up Central Asia. On the other hand, when we talk about the Caucasus region, or when we talk about the Caucasus countries, these countries are those countries which lie near the Caucasus mountains. So those countries which lie near the Caucasus mountains, those countries together make up the Caucasus countries. So for example, in this particular area, you can see the Caucasus countries, and these countries, very interestingly, you will find these countries are usually lying between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So the countries which lie between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, Black Sea to the west, Caspian Sea to the east, and they also have the Caucasus mountain running through them. For example, Georgia, for example, Armenia, for example, Azerbaijan, sometimes even some parts of Russia are also considered to be a part of Caucasus region. So I'll repeat, the Caucasus countries are usually 3. One is Georgia, one is Armenia, one is Azerbaijan. Okay, and they lie between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So first thing is the location. So let us see. Central Asia, it is a region which stretches from the Caspian Sea in the west. So please remember, when it comes to Central Asia, what is lying to the west? We have the Caspian Sea, which lies to the west of Central Asia. Okay, so it stretches from Caspian Sea to the west. As you can see, this entire area, what makes up its western border? It is the Caspian Sea. So it stretches from Caspian Sea in the west all the way up to China in the east. Dekho, right hand side border, here you have China, here you have Caspian Sea, and this entire region is lying between the Caspian Sea and China, right? So it stretches from the Caspian Sea in the west all the way up to China in the east. Also we have Mongolia lying to the east. Okay, so China, Mongolia, this area is what is lying to the east. And when it comes to the southern part, there we have Afghanistan. So to the south we have Afghanistan, as you can see. South we have Afghanistan and Iran as well. Okay, here we have Iran. So Caspian Sea to the west, to the east you have China and Mongolia. When it comes to the south, you have Afghanistan and Iran. And when it comes to the north, then you have Russia, this entire area, Kazakhstan, all these areas, they make up the southern part. Sometimes this Kazakhstan, so you have all these areas. For example, you have Kazakhstan, you have Kyrgyzstan, this entire area. Sometimes this Kazakhstan area is sometimes not considered to be a part of Central Asia sometimes, but then now we get to see that it has been officially recognized as a part of Central Asia. So Central Asia, officially 5 countries: Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. To the northern part of Kazakhstan will lie Russia, right? So again, let us see the borders. To the west, we have the Caspian Sea. To the east, we have China and Mongolia. To the south, we have Iran and Afghanistan. And to the north, we have Russia. So the part which lies in the middle, that is Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, which used to be a part of USSR, they together make up the Central Asian area. Moving on, the Caucasus, or sometimes also referred to as Caucasia. So this Caucasus or Caucasia area, it is the region which is situated between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So you can see over here, it lies between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Black Sea to the west and Caspian Sea to the east. Okay, and it is mainly occupied by Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Russia. These are the main places. Mainly there are three. One is Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. Sometimes, as I told you, some part of Russia is also taken into consideration. Right? So I hope all of you are clear regarding the region that we are going to talk about today. Now, moving on, let us zoom in a bit to this Caucasus region and let us see where the Caucasus mountain lies. Okay, so first of all, the Caucasus region, as you can understand, it lies between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Black Sea and Caspian Sea, you can see from the diagram or from the map itself. And over here, I hope all of you can see that here lies the Caucasus mountain. So we have the greater Caucasus range and we have the lesser Caucasus range also. Okay, so be very careful. Sometimes they might ask you simply कि Caucasus mountain will lie between which two seas. So you should be aware that Black Sea on one side, that is to the left, and you have the Caspian Sea to the right. Okay, so moving on, and these are the Caucasus countries. So Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and some part of Russia sometimes is also considered. Already we have looked at which are the Central Asian countries. So I'm not going into that. Once again, there are 5 such countries which at one point of time used to be a part of Soviet Russia or USSR. Now, certain places which were in the news in this particular region, that is Central Asian Caucasus region, one area is what is called as Samarkand. The area is called as Samarkand. Now, where is this Samarkand located? As you can see from the map itself, it is located in Uzbekistan. So Samarkand, it is located in Uzbekistan. Okay. Now this is lying. So Samarkand, it is located in Uzbekistan, and it hosted the first India Central Asia dialogue. It hosted the first India Central Asia dialogue. Okay, so remember that a little bit somewhere around this particular area we have Samarkand, and over here in Uzbekistan, the Samarkand which is located in Uzbekistan, it hosted the first India Central Asia dialogue. Now, why this particular dialogue becomes important? Now, this particular dialogue becomes important because, as you can expect, okay, only those countries, that is India and the Central Asian countries, should have been a part of this dialogue. But we get to see that Afghanistan, which is not a part of Central Asia, even though it is not a part of Central Asia, still it had participated in this particular dialogue. ठीक है, तो अगर आपसे ये पूछा जाए कि फर्स्ट इंडिया सेंट्रल एशिया डायलॉग where was it held? Please remember, it was held in Samarkand. Samarkand is a place in Uzbekistan. And what is the significance? The significance is that Afghanistan, which is not a part of Central Asia, it had also participated in this particular dialogue. Okay, so this is regarding Samarkand. And where is Uzbekistan? Again, as you can see over here, it is a part of Central Asia because it is one of those 5 countries. So Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan together make up Central Asia. Where is Afghanistan lying? Afghanistan is lying to the south. As you can understand, it lies to the south of Central Asia. So Afghanistan is not exactly a part of Central Asia. It is not exactly considered to be a part of Central Asia. So though Afghanistan is not a part of Central Asia, still it had participated in the India Central Asia dialogue which had taken place in Samarkand in Uzbekistan. Now there are certain terms that we get to see every day in the papers. So let us have some idea as to which regions are referred to when such terms are used. For example, when Central Asia is used, as you can understand from this particular map itself, okay, when Central Asia is mentioned, this particular area is actually considered. So Central Asia means again Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. These countries together are considered to be Central Asia. When Middle East is mentioned, so let's say Middle East, sometimes also West Asia. So whether they mention Middle East or West Asia, this particular region is what is taken into account. Okay, this is the area which is taken into account when Middle East or sometimes West Asia is mentioned. On the other hand, sometimes you will find that South Asia will be mentioned in the papers. So when South Asia is mentioned, this is the region that we basically refer to. That is India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, this particular region, Sri Lanka, Maldives, this area is what is referred to as South Asia. So Afghanistan lies at the center, you can say, of all these regions. So Afghanistan is not exactly a part of South Asia, not can you call it to be exactly a part of Central Asia. So it lies at the junction, and hence it's a very, very important location. Okay? Afghanistan, it lies at the junction of all these places. Now moving on, another area which was in the news, and that is Astana. Another important area which was in the news is Astana. Now first thing is, let us find where is Astana. Now right now what we get to see is that Astana, its name has been changed to Nurul Sultan. The name of Astana, it has been changed to Nurul Sultan. So let us try to locate Nurul Sultan. This is Nurul Sultan. It is present in Kazakhstan. Okay? Astana, it is present in Kazakhstan, but we get to see the name has been changed to Nurul Sultan. So basically this Astana area, it is the capital of Kazakhstan, and now that its name has got changed, so automatically you can understand that now the capital of Kazakhstan is no longer Astana, it will be called as Nurul Sultan. So what is the significance of Astana? Let us see. So Kazakhstan, it had co-hosted the Global Conference on Primary Health Care with World Health Organization and UNICEF. Okay, this is the main thing. Okay, Astana, why it is important? Kazakhstan, along with UNICEF and World Health Organization, they had co-hosted the Global Conference on Primary Healthcare. Global Conference on Primary Healthcare. Please remember, Astana was the location for this particular Global Conference on Primary Healthcare. Now the question is, when did that take place? When did this particular conference take place? It took place in October of 2018. Now exact date is not necessary, but it was around 24th, 26th of October. But anyway, date is not necessary. What is important is it took place somewhere around the October of 2018, and we get to see world leaders, government ministers, development partners, civil society, young people. All of them, they met at Astana. Okay, so it will be they met at Astana for this particular global conference on primary healthcare, which was jointly hosted by the government of Kazakhstan, UNICEF, and World Health Organization. But recently we get to see that Astana, it has been renamed as Nurul Sultan. It has been recently renamed as Nurul Sultan or Nur Sultan. And so hence the new name of the capital of Kazakhstan, that is no longer Astana, it has become Nur Sultan. So here you have the Nur Sultan. Now moving on, another important area that we get to see that was in the news, that is Baku. Now Baku, it is a part of your Caucasus region, mainly the Caucasus countries. Question is, where is Baku? Now Baku, it is the capital of Azerbaijan. Okay? Baku, it is the capital of Azerbaijan, and it had hosted the 18th NUM summit. What is this NUM? NUM is the non-aligned movement. NUM is the non-aligned movement. So basically during the Cold War years, we get to see that the world or the countries, they were divided into two blocks. One is the communist bloc, which was headed by USSR, and the other is the capitalist bloc, which was headed by USA or America. But still we had certain countries which decided not to follow either of the blocks, not to become a part of either of the blocks. That is, neither they wanted to go into that block which it comes under the sphere of influence of USSR, neither did they want to go under the influence of America. So they decided to form a separate organization which is called as NAM, or Non-Aligned Movement. Interestingly, India was a part of it, and we get to see that the 18th summit of the Non-Aligned Movement, it had taken place at Baku. Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan. So where is Baku? Baku is present over here in the map. You can see here right on the Caspian Sea you have Baku. Okay? So remember Caspian Sea, and there you have Baku. Now moving on, again it becomes important, this Caspian Sea area. I believe earlier we might have seen this once, okay, which are the countries which lie along the Caspian Sea, but let us quickly look at it again. So what are the countries that we have? We have Azerbaijan, we have Russia, we have Turkmenistan, we have Iran, and you have Kazakhstan. Okay, so how can you remember? One way to remember is this Sea Arctic or Kartik, you can say Sea Arctic or Kartik. So how do you remember Caspian and the countries surrounding the Caspian Sea? C stands for Caspian, A stands for Azerbaijan, R stands for Russia, T stands for Turkmenistan, I stands for Iran, and then you have K for Kazakhstan. So once again, C for Caspian Sea, then you have Azerbaijan, A, then you have Russia over here, AR. Okay, then what do you have? You have Turkmenistan. So Turkmenistan is located over here, and then you have Iran. Iran is located over here. Finally, you have Kazakhstan. So this entire area is Kazakhstan. So if you have to remember the countries which surround the Caspian Sea, remember Sea Arctic or Kartik. Okay. Now moving on to another very important sea that we have over here. Okay, another very important sea that we have, which is called as the Black Sea. Okay, very important sea we have, it is called as the Black Sea. Now many times UPSC will be asking questions from here, hence again it becomes important that you remember which are the countries which surround the Black Sea. So just have a look at the countries over here. We have Georgia. Okay, we have Georgia, and you have Russia, and you have Turkey. So Georgia, Russia, Turkey, and then you have Romania, you have Ukraine, and then you have Bulgaria. Okay, Bulgaria. See, you do not have Moldova, by the way. Moldova does not share a border with the Black Sea. So what are the countries that surround the Black Sea? You have Georgia, you have Russia, and you have Turkey. And you also have Romania, you have Ukraine, and you have Bulgaria. So this can be turned into a mnemonic, something like Great Rub, something like this you can think of. This is Crimea, by the way, which was earlier a part of Ukraine, but later on it was annexed by Russia by force, basically. So I think in one of the videos which I had made on the important locations of Europe, there we had seen this particular area. But anyway, once again, remember that you can remember this, the countries which surround the Black Sea, with the help of this mnemonic. So by remembering Great Rub, let's say for example, just by remembering Great Rub, G stands for Georgia, R stands for Russia, T stands for Turkey, again you have R which stands for Romania, U which stands for Ukraine, and finally you have B which stands for Bulgaria. So remember Great Rub, and then you can automatically remember the countries which surround the Black Sea. Achha. Next important area that you have to remember is the important organization that you have to remember, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO. Now what you have to remember over here is this: Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, they were not the founding members of this particular organization. Remember that Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, they were not the founding members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay. Now, next up, what you also have to remember is this area called as Bishkek. Now, first of all, let us see where Bishkek is, and here you have Bishkek. Okay, here you have Bishkek. So look at the region where it is located, number one, and then let us see, okay, what are the importances of this area. Okay, see over here, you can see Bishkek. So Bishkek is in which country? It is in Kyrgyzstan. Okay, Bishkek is present in Kyrgyzstan, and you can see which countries lies along this particular border, that is Kazakhstan. Okay, so Bishkek, it is in Kyrgyzstan. It is rather the capital. So let us see why this Bishkek was in the news. So Bishkek, it is the capital of Kyrgyzstan, as we have seen, and Kyrgyzstan is of course one of the 5 countries of Central Asia. Of course, just now we saw, okay, which are the 5 countries which make up Central Asia, and Kyrgyzstan is one among them. And apart from that, of course, we have Kazakhstan, we have Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan together making up Central Asia. Now, this Bishkek area, this was formerly called as Bishkek and Frunze also. Sometimes, like earlier, the name of Bishkek, earlier the name of Bishkek was Pishkek or Pishpek and Frunze. Okay? And now it is the capital and the largest city of Kyrgyzstan. It is the capital and the largest city of Kyrgyzstan. Now, why this becomes important is because right now we were talking about a particular organization which is called as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So there is a relationship between the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and this particular area which is called as Bishkek. So what has happened over here? The 19th Heads of State Summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement. The 19th Head of State Summit. Now, first thing that you have to remember is this: in this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we get to see that summits are held of this particular organization, but then there are 2 types of summits which are held. One, the Head of State Summit. Two, the Head of Government Summit. Okay? The Head of State Summit and the Head of Government Summit. So 2 type of summits are held of this particular organization which is called as Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So this 19th Head of State Summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement, it was organized last year in Bishkek. And as we have discussed earlier, this Bishkek area was earlier also called as Pishpek city. And Bishkek is in Kyrgyzstan. So why this particular area becomes important? That is because the 19 heads of state, don't get confused. Now this summit was not the head of government summit, it was the 19th head of state summit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization that was held in Bishkek. And we get to see the 19th head of government summit of SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that was held at Tashkent. Tashkent is in Uzbekistan. Tashkent is in Uzbekistan. So I guess we might also have Tashkent. Here you can see Tashkent. See, look at these 2 areas. So over here you have Bishkek and here you have Tashkent. Okay? These are 2 areas. Here we have the 19th Heads of State Summit and the Head of Government Summit was held at Tashkent. Okay? So Tashkent is where it is in Uzbekistan. So let us go back. Okay, so we have the 19th Heads of State Summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and that was held last year at Bishkek, which is also which was earlier also called as Pishpek city, and it is in Kyrgyzstan. And next up we have the 19th Heads of Government Summit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and this Heads of Government Summit, it was held at Tashkent. Tashkent is in Uzbekistan. Now, a little bit more regarding this particular organization because it's very, very important. And recently we get to see India and Pakistan, they became members of this SCO. So let us see what are the details of this particular organization, SCO. So the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a China-led 8-member economic and security bloc with India and Pakistan, who were admitted to the grouping in the year 2017. So first thing is this Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is a China-led 8-member. Please remember there are 8 members of SCO. Okay, it is led by China. China is the leader. So SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it is a China-led 8-member economic and security bloc. Economic, so it is meant for what? It is meant, number one, for economy, of course, and also for providing security. So it's economic and security bloc, and we get to see India and Pakistan were admitted to the grouping in the year 2017. It is a permanent international body. It is a permanent international body with the government of different nations, such as the Republic of Kazakhstan, the People's Republic of China, the Kyrgyzstan Republic, the Russian Federation, the Republic of Tajikistan, Republic of Uzbekistan, the Republic of India, and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. These are the countries which make up the SCO. So just for our understanding purpose, let us see which are the countries which make up SCO. First of all, it's a permanent international body. Okay, and which are the countries? One is Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, and we have Pakistan. Okay, so these countries together make up the SCO. Next, its creation has been announced on the 15th of June 2001 in Shanghai. That is why it is called as Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So its establishment was done in Shanghai, China in the year 2001 on the 15th of June of 2001. The 19th Council of Heads of Government of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it was supposed to be hosted by India late in the year 2020. Uh, okay, I'll also tell you one more thing. Okay, see, 19th Council of Heads of Government. The 19th Council of the Heads of Government. So that was supposed to be held at the Shanghai Cooperation of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It was supposed to be hosted by India late in the year 2020, but we get to see that maybe it will ultimately have to be postponed. Just like we get to see that the heads of state summit, which was supposed to take place in Russia, that also got postponed. This would be the first high level meeting of the SCO that would be organized here, that is in India, since India's admission to the 8-member grouping. So it will be the first high level summit to have been organized in India after India and of course Pakistan became a member of SCO in the year 2017. Okay, Tashkent, as we know, it hosted 2019 Heads of Government Summit. In 2020, we get to see Heads of State Summit. It will be held in Russia, but we get to see that this summit, it has been postponed now. Okay, 2020, in the year 2020, the Heads of State Summit, it was supposed to be held in Russia, but ultimately it got postponed. In 2020, the Heads of Government Summit, that is supposed to be held in India, but maybe that is also going to get postponed. We also get to see Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. They were not among the founding members of SCO. Initially, SCO was started. It was initially called as Shanghai 5. It was initially called as Shanghai 5. Please remember, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, they were not the founding members of SCO. Initially, SCO was started and it was called as Shanghai 5. Now, why this entire area is so very important when it comes to India? See over here, in Central Asia, it is very rich in terms of minerals and oil resources. It is very, very rich in terms of minerals and oil resources. Especially, we get to see that there is an international pipeline which is called as a Tapi pipeline. Okay? We have an international pipeline called as Tapi pipeline, which is supposed to bring petroleum and all such things. So Tapi basically it stands for Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. TAPI, it stands for Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. That is the countries through which the TAPI pipeline is going to run. So Bishkek, already we have seen it is located in Kyrgyzstan, and we have also seen the location of Tashkent. Tashkent is present in Uzbekistan. A little bit more regarding this SCO. So SCO comprises of this entire area. As you can see, this entire area, so comprising of Russia with its capital at Moscow, comprising of Kazakhstan with its capital at Nur Sultan, and earlier that Nur Sultan was referred to as Astana, We have the Kyrgyzstan area also, which has its capital at Bishkek. We have the Republic of Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan, its capital is in Tashkent. Tajikistan is also present. Tajikistan, the capital is Dushanbe, and India, capital of course New Delhi, and we have the Islamic Republic of Pakistan with its capital at Islamabad. Finally, we have People's Republic of China, its capital at Beijing. So all these countries, that is 8 of them together, make up the SCO or the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Modal transport. First of all, what is meant by multimodal transport? When we say multimodal transport, we are referring to transportation which takes place through different types of modes of transport basically. So let's say some part of it will be covered on land through roads, railways, etc. Some part will be covered in the sea. So that is what is meant by multimodal transport system, when you have different modes of transport or different types of transport making up an entire network of let's say an entire network of roads, highways, let's say waterways, etc. So first of all, what is this international north-south transport corridor, and what is the main objective? To promote safe, economical, and sustainable access to international markets through multimodal transport. And this multimodal transport network, it will run through various countries. For example, between the countries of Persian Gulf. So where is the Persian Gulf? This entire area is the Persian Gulf. Okay? Through Persian Gulf, then we will have India with Russia. Of course, we have the other states which were a part of USSR, and we also have Europe. So this entire area will be linked together with the help of the North-South Transport Corridor. We also get to see Russia, Iran, and India. They had signed this agreement, that is the North-South Transport Corridor project, on May of 2002. The North-South Transport corridor, it is joined by Azerbaijan. Like this entire corridor, it has been joined by all these countries. There is Azerbaijan, Armenia, Belarus. We have Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkey. We have Ukraine. We have Oman, Syria. So all these countries will slowly join this north-south. It has joined the north-south transportation corridor. So this is how the north-south transportation corridor looks like. Okay. So earlier you see, earlier if you have to go by the standard route, in that case, let's say if you have to go from Mumbai to St. Petersburg, then you will have to go through all these areas. Then you will have to go through Arabian Sea, and then Gulf of Oman, and then you have to go through the Strait of Hormuz, and then sorry, you have to go from Mumbai. You have to go through this Horn of Africa area, right? And you have to go through Bab el Mandab. This is the Gulf of Aden, Bab el Mandab. Then you have to go through Red Sea area. Finally, go through the Suez Canal, and then you have the Mediterranean Sea, and finally you go out of the Strait of Gibraltar. Then you go through the North Sea, and then you go into the Baltic Sea. Here you also have the English Channel, and finally, ultimately, you reach the port of Murmansk over here, which is in Russia. Okay, this is the standard route. But now, if we use this particular corridor, that is the north-south transportation corridor, as you can see that it becomes much shorter and much more convenient for transportation, trade, etc. to be carried out. So hence this particular network is very important. So this red colored line that you have, that shows the north-south transportation corridor. Okay. So with this, we have one more area left, that is Ashgabat agreement. So let us know a little bit regarding this as well. Ashgabat is present in Turkmenistan. Ashgabat is present in Turkmenistan. And this Ashgabat agreement you have to know about. Ashgabat, it is the capital of Turkmenistan. The objective of this agreement is to enhance connectivity within the Eurasian region and synchronize it with other transport corridors within that region, including the international north-south transport corridor. Okay, so this is another you can say transportation agreement. So Ashgabat agreement, Ashgabat is the capital of Turkmenistan. So you can see over here Turkmenistan, and you can see over here Ashgabat is present. Here you have Ashgabat present. Right. So what is this? The objective of this Ashgabat agreement. Now Ashgabat, it is the capital of Turkmenistan. Okay, remember this, it is the capital of Turkmenistan. And the objective of this agreement is to, what is the main objective? To enhance connectivity not only within the Eurasian region but also to synchronize it with other transportation corridors within that region, including the north-south, that is the international north-south corridor, that is one. This Ashgabat agreement, it is a multimodal transport agreement. This is an example of a multimodal transport agreement. And it is between which countries? We get to see that this Ashgabat agreement, it has been signed between the governments of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, India, and Oman. Okay, once again, let me repeat. So Ashgabat agreement, it is between Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, India, and Oman. What is the main objective? To create an international transport and transit corridor facilitating the transportation of goods between Central Asia and the Persian Gulf. That is the main objective. What is the main objective? The main objective is, okay, it will create an international transport and transit corridor, and hence it will facilitate the transportation of goods between Central Asia and the Persian Gulf. This agreement, it came into force. It came into force in April of 2016. It came into force in April 2016. Okay, so this is regarding the Ashgabat agreement. So we complete Central Asia and the Caucasus region. So these were some of the important locations which were in the news so far as this particular region is concerned. I hope you have liked this particular video and you have enjoyed the session. And please let us know in the comment section what other areas you would like me to cover. Along with that, please like this particular video, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to AptPlus's YouTube channel for more such informative videos. So we'll close the session over here. Hope you study hard and stay safe, and till the next time, thank you so much.
I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.